podcast. My name is Amanda.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And in real life, we haven't recorded in so long. So
Yes.
It's been over a month since we actually recorded, which is very exciting. But we just saw Moana 2 the other day, so I'm super excited to be talking about Moana 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, so I'm going to do through some history and some general story things you can find on Google. Then we will give our non-spoiler review, and then we'll go into the actual plot of the movie with spoilers and everything. So,
Okay.
all right, so some history to the movie. So, of course, this is the sequel to the first Moana film. The follow-up to the first movie was originally going to be a long-form streaming series, which is basically just a TV show, on Disney+, and eventually was reworked to become a theatrical release. The film was directed by David Derrick Jr., Jason Hand, and Dana LaDoy Miller, and this is their feature directional debuts, which is very exciting. The first film was directed by John Musker and Ron Clements. Now, the reason why we have 3 new directors is because, again, we'll quickly see that the reason why a lot of the changes in Moana 2 from the first film is because it was supposed to be a TV series. So because it's supposed to be a TV series, that's why we have 3 new directors as well as a new screenplay writer as well. So Jared Bush did come back. He was also the same for the first movie. And then Dana Miller, one of the directors, also was the screenplay writer for this. For our composers, we have Mark Mancia, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to pronounce a lot of names incorrectly here, so I apologize ahead of time to some of the people here. But Opate Fawai, and the composers were also the composers and co-writers of the first film, so they returned for the second film to write more music. Although Lin-Manuel Miranda did not return for Moana 2, instead Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear replaced him instead. Part of the reason, there was no direct reason why Lin-Manuel Miranda did not come back to Moana 2, but what I read is that they wanted 2 young female writers to be writing songs for Moana, so they had more of a female perspective writing for Moana, so that is where Abigail and Emily kind of came in. And the movie was animated at Walt Disney Animation Studios Vancouver studio, and this is the first feature film to be animated there in the Vancouver studio. And again, ties back to the fact that it's supposed to be a TV show, so it was being animated originally in Vancouver as a TV show, was switched to be a theatrical release, and that's why it all stayed the same with the people who are working on the film. All right, so let's go into a little bit of the story. So this is a lot of this, I will have my resources, of course, linked, but a lot of this is coming from interviews that the 3 directors did with various resources. Baron and Dana said they worked with the Polynesian Voyaging Society and Naona Thompson, who is a master wayfinder. Dana had said Naona told us a lot of things, but one of the things that he said was so meaningful and ended up inspiring a lot of Moana's story, and that's the idea that when you're in the midst of a storm, you have to let go of everything you think is true. You really have no control over the situation. Naona told us that he found that feeling really liberating and free because it forces you to think differently and to learn something new. And we do kind of see Moana have to learn and think differently. This also becomes such the turning point for Moana 2, who is normally such a headstrong character. Again, in the first movie, we really saw her just taking the lead, just going for things. And instead, in the second movie, you really see her have to let go and think a little bit differently in the moment that she's in. Also, while the first film was Moana reconnecting with her people, reconnecting her people to who they are at their own core, we still see Moana is still seeking connection. We learn too that we see that in Polynesia, they really see the ocean as something that connects people, not something that divides. So we always see that idea of that it's like Moana's journeying into the ocean to seek further connection with people, back to themselves, things like that. The concept of the ancient meeting point that's within the movie, this is like within like the first 5 minutes of the movie that you find out they're going to an ancient meeting point, that all the wayfinders, it kind of came out of this idea that the director said, we love the idea that there was once this place long before Moana existed where all the wayfinders of the ocean came together. We thought about what it would mean that if it was lost or taken from them. So the idea that Moana's chasing after that felt like a really great challenge for her in this film. So the main big bad, so to speak, of this movie is Nalo. So Nalo is the god of storms, and as someone who helps symbolize the disconnect between the people of the ocean. So again, people are disconnected from in the ocean. They kind of pick Nalo because like what a great person to kind of disconnect people of the ocean is the god of storms himself. So Nalo is able to conjure up this powerful storm that continually keeps the people of the ocean disconnected. So we see Moana challenged in more ways than one. I think one of the biggest challenges is her idea that she's grown up. So for instance, the second movie is 3 years after the first movie. Of course, there's no exact age for Moana, so we can kind of guess that she's maybe in her late teens, early 20s is what I would guess. But one of her big challenges in the beginning of the movie is the idea of leaving her family, because now she realizes she has love for her family, love for her people, and she's starting to realize the risk of what she now has to lose. Whereas in that first movie, she was kind of like, I don't really care, like I'm going to the ocean, the ocean's calling me. When you're older, you realize like actually there's a lot for me to lose back at home, and what if something happens to me? What if I don't ever return? And of course, Moana does have a younger sister, Simia, and so like what if I never see my sister again? What if my sister never sees me is what it really is. Realizing that her people and her family actually really love her and need her. So I really liked that conflict as well that you see pretty early on. And this conflict was actually inspired by the director David's own children, who are 14 years apart. And he said when his older child left for college, he said it was very difficult for the siblings to leave, but also realizing that this leaving is necessary for growth on both behalves. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, so that's just some of the background and the story behind the movie itself. So what is your non-spoiler review? Would you recommend seeing the movie, Mom?
Oh yeah, I'm easy to please when it comes to these movies.
We all are, honestly.
It was great. I mean, you go in, as we always said, I go in with the idea that it's going to be fun. Okay, it's a Disney movie. It's definitely the Thanksgiving movies are usually always very good. I have to say that I think they put great detail. The music was good. The cinematography was good. The animation was good. I thought everything was good. I mean, I enjoyed the whole movie. I think it was funny. There were lots of little scenes that were very funny and lots of scenes that were, moving and some action scenes. There was a couple of references that you chuckle at because they referred back to Disney things and you chuckle at them. So I thought the whole movie as a whole was great. I'd recommend it to anybody. Go see it.
I agree too. I also recommend it, of course. I thought it looked really great. I really loved the plot overall. I like the new characters that they introduced because I feel like they're really setting up Moana in her own world to continue to expand into the future as well, which I think is exciting to continue to see her expand. And the directors did say in an interview that they don't think Moana would ever become a TV series. They do think that she's always made for the big screen, which I think is good because I do love movies. I'm definitely more. I don't think you would have got the
feeling of this movie on the TV series.
I think it was much more dramatic, like the things that she goes through, like the emotional journey as well as like the physical journey that she's on is much more, I think, more dramatic on the big screen, which I definitely like and definitely appreciate as well. So no, I definitely agree. I thought it was great. Obviously, it's breaking records. So it is now, this and Wicked are the top two highest grossing movies for Thanksgiving Day release, beating out Frozen 2. So I mean, like, this is a huge movie. Very exciting. I'll be curious to see when Frozen 3 comes out. If Frozen 3 will take back the reins. So I guess we'll find out when Frozen 3 comes out in a couple of years. Right. But we'll definitely recommend it. So all right, so now we are going to get into the actual plot of the film itself. This is going to be a full spoiler review for now what the plot is actually going to go over. So I'm going to go over the plot and we'll give our kind of our commentary here and there on the plot itself. So again, the movie is set 3 years after the first films and it opens up with Moana exploring other islands and she's looking for people to connect with. I didn't get that at first actually when she was just on that island, like just running around having fun. It wasn't until she finds this piece of broken pottery with like an island and people beneath it that she realizes like, no, there are other people out there because my people didn't make this and I'm finding it. So that's when she goes back to her village. Again, it took me a second to realize that that's what she was doing. I had no idea what she was doing. She was just hanging out. I was like, I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was over there to look for it, but when she
that's
found
what she's doing. That she's like,
you realize that she saw somebody else did it, right?
So when she goes back, they end up undergoing a village celebration, and she gets a vision from Tatutai Vasa. I'm saying his name definitely wrong. I cannot remember how she said his name in the film. I'm so sorry. But Totai Vasa, which was the last great wayfinder of her people, he was actually in the first film. So when they do the song, one of the songs in the first film, like when she has the other first vision of her ancestors on the wayfinders, he's in that scene. So it's the same dude actually. So he comes back and he tells her, like he speaks to her, that he tells her that they are no longer connected to the ocean because of the god of storms, Nalo, that Nalo wanted power over the mortals. So because of that, he sunk the island of Matufetu, which connected all of the islands into the depths of the ocean. And that he tells her Moana has to find a way to raise the island, break Nalo's curse, or her people will not survive living in isolation much longer. Which I thought that was interesting that her people are living in isolation. Like she thought they were living in isolation because they were no longer wayfinders. But like they say, like that was step one, that they had to find their way back to wayfinding, and step two is breaking this curse. So I kind of like how it's expanding upon that initial, like the initial journey is all connected. Again, Amanda has been concerned by this time about going away because it's such a big voyage and, to break the curse, and she doesn't know where this island is or anything like that. And her little sister is very sad to see that she's going to be leaving, and it's, very sad. And she sings a song called Beyond, which I really liked. I thought it was a really, really lovely song. She ends up finding the courage within herself that she is going to go out on this journey. And through of course, the Moana's love for people and knowing this journey has to be done, she was able to push past her own fears. So she assembles her wayfinding crew to join her. So first up, we have Lotto, who is a craftswoman who helps build and fix her boats. I know they're not called boats. Technically, there is a technical term to the canoe boats that she's on.
Ship she's on, right?
But for easy English, I'm just going to call it boats, even though I fully recognize it's technically not a boat. So yeah, but Lotto is this like Australian accented woman, which is funny that she's the only one with an Australian accent. They live on an isolated island altogether.
Yeah, I never thought about that when she was talking, but you're right. She's got an accent that should not fit there if they're on an isolated island.
They're on an isolated island where they all speak the same language.
Yeah, she's the only odd one out.
One of them is an Australian
I never thought
accent.
of that. Okay, you pointed that out.
Yeah, it's just because they're like the whole thing is because they're isolated. So afterwards, I was just like, how come she's the only one though?
Didn't dawn on me, so most people are not going to notice that.
And it's a small island. It's not like they have people on the far side of the island that maybe would have developed an accent over time or something. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny.
That was odd. Okay.
So, like clearly, whoever the voice actor is for Lotto, they kept the actor's voice actor the same, which I appreciate. I like that. And of course, they're in Polynesia, so it makes sense in Oceania and Polynesia, it's all connected.
I have to say at the beginning too is that when you talk about how they have these names and these accents and the things and stuff, I have to admit that they did do a lot of the Polynesian history and culture.
Oh yeah, for
certain
sure.
things that they do, the chants
go over
they
the
do,
cast, but that's okay.
everything they do. I have to give them credit that at the end of the movie, I said, wow, they really did bring in the Polynesian culture.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. Again, especially too that Polynesia is so large, you know?
Yes.
It's like I feel like sometimes it's thought of as quite small because it's islands, but it's like the islands span the entire Pacific Ocean.
Yes.
Even
Very,
Oceania,
very
which is
large.
Australia and New Zealand, it spans that entire area,
Yes.
which is quite vast. So no, but I definitely do agree. So again, we have Lotto, craftsman woman. She's very funny. She has a very quirky personality, Australian accent, not where she got it from. Then we have Mani. Mani is I say he's a historian because he knows all the village stories. Like he has all the tapestries ready.
Right.
He's painting the tapestries that tell the village stories.
Yes.
And so, but he's also, he knows like he's trying to record the current history while also learning from their past history of their people. And he's also a fanboy of Maui. He absolutely loves Maui. He's so excited to meet Maui. He's very cute. I actually really love Mani.
Yeah.
And then we have Kiki, who is an elderly farmer who can't swim and wants to
He was
retire.
hysterical. Yes, he was the comic relief.
Yes, yeah. So Kiki, and that's because Moana's like, we don't know how long we're gonna be on this journey,
Right.
so we
She
can't
tricks
just,
him into going.
Yeah, she's like, we can't just eat fish. We're gonna have to eat like plants and stuff too.
Right.
So he comes on the voyage as
Right.
well. And then Pua and Heihei also come. So I read in an interview the reason why Pua did not come in the first film was because they wanted to make Moana's journey as difficult as possible. So that's why she only had Heihei.
Oh, okay.
But there was such like everyone loved Pua obviously, so that's why Pua and Heihei are both coming for the second film. So we got the two of them. And so while this whole opening scene with Moana is coming, it's actually intercut with scenes of Maui himself also seeing Motu Fetu. And he doesn't want to involve Moana because he fears for her life since he knows that Nalo hates humans. That's a whole thing, that Nalo hates humans.
Yes.
But, and so he essentially, long story short, he gets captured by Montanji. And she's basically a female demigod. It is not confirmed what she is exactly, like if she's a demigod, if she's definitely not a god, that's for sure. But if she's a demigod, if she's immortal who's turned into a demigod, like we're not really sure what her character is. And she is meant to be a mysterious character. Like she's presented very mysteriously. She kind of honestly remains mysterious throughout the entire movie.
Right.
She's not really touched upon a lot, but she does have powers such as she can command bats. So she kind of has like a vampire-esque to her. There's all these bats flying around her, and she can like walk upside down. She can, do certain things in the, other things with her. I have a little bit more about her later when Moana, of course, meets Montanji. But for now, she captures Maui, and Maui is like, of course, upset, being like, "Let me go," type of thing. So we also find out too that she works for Nalo, and that she's preventing other humans and other demigods from getting near the sunken Motu Fetu. So she's preventing them from getting near the island. And it looks like Maui's in a cave when he gets captured. We don't know where he is yet, but it looks like he's in some kind of cave. So then Moana and her crew are, on the ocean. They have a whole montage song about, them getting excited for their trip. And then they come across this gigantic clam. Now, let me tell you, the clam scared me.
God,
I was not
yes.
expecting that.
No.
It is this huge clam
Big,
sticking out from the
gigantic,
ocean
yes.
with like these eyeballs on it with these little tentacle things.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, oh my God, I was not expecting a giant clam. That's
They had
for
fun
sure.
drawing that.
Yeah. And then we see that the Kakamora are actually running from them. The Kakamora are the little coconut people.
I love those little guys.
Yeah, so they come back. At first they're fighting with the Kakamora, but then they all quickly get together and band together, and then Mani is able to kind of translate what they're saying to them because they don't like speaking language, so to speak. Or well, I guess they speak to each other speaking language, I'm not really sure. But they don't speak to us in a speaking language. And they realize that they learn from the Kakamora that they are also looking for Motu Fetu because they have also been disconnected from their home island due to this curse.
Right.
So they can't get back to their home island or the people. So for 1,000 years, they've been sailing the ocean on these 3 ships because they've just been lost, which is pretty sad if you think about it, actually.
I know. They are little cute guys.
Yes, so they make a deal that Moana and her crew are going to take down the giant clam, and then they're going to try to all find Motu Fetu together. And then Kotu, who is one of the little coconut that kind of helps him. I feel bad calling him a coconut, but that's what he is. I don't know what else to call him. But the Kotu, one of the Kakamora, he helps them paralyze the giant clam because they have those little darts with the
Those little
paralyzing
darts,
stuff.
yes.
And they ultimately fall into the clam in order to save the rest of the Kakamora from falling into. So they sacrifice themselves, even though they kind of disagree with Kotu. But obviously Kotu's like, we're not going to sacrifice my people to fall in this clam when it'll be just us. So they get separated. The crew accidentally rescue Maui, and Moana accidentally meets Montanji when they fall into this clam. So now we found out Maui is in the clam.
Right.
So before we thought maybe he was in the cave, he was not. He was in the clam. So he gets rescued from them because they kind of cut his ropes that he's in, and he's able to break free. And at first he doesn't really care about them. He's like, no, I'm going to go do what I'm doing. You guys, stay here type of thing. I can't be bothered with you, until he sees Heihei. He calls him Boat Snack. Once he sees Boat Snack, he realizes that Moana has to be nearby. And he's like, all right, we need to find Moana now. Moana meets Montanji in the meanwhile. And at first you don't really know what to think of Montangi because, again, she's the one who captured Maui. But then you actually realize that she's sort of like a good guy, deep down. So she basically teaches Moana the importance of letting go and basically thinking outside the box. Their whole song is all about, it's like accomplishing something that's obvious and finding a different way to accomplish what you're doing. And it's also revealed that she captured Maui in order to reunite Maui with Moana so they can travel to Machu Picchu together.
Yeah, she had ulterior motives.
Yeah, through this magical portal. Because the thing is, even if Maui were to raise the island of Machu Picchu, that would not break the curse. A human has to touch the island. So she's like, you need Moana in order to do this. And she also hints in her song that she has her own debt to Nalo, and that's why she's been in service for him for over 1,000 years. We don't know what she has done to be in debt to Nalo, but we just know that that's why she's helping them. It's because she's trapped in this giant clam as, in service to him to prevent people from finding Machu Picchu, even though she's like, well, I want to be released anyway. So I'm just going to do this. All right, so the group, they take this magical portal. I kid you not, full magic. They just go in this portal and they're like sailing through space. It's like, really, it's like, if we didn't believe in magic yet, this is truly the magic now. Sailing through space, like Doctor Who style. So they arrive just outside of Machu Picchu, second location. They have to fight off this giant eel. Mani almost dies, but Maui saves him. They wash ashore on this abandoned island, and Moana, once again, she's like really beaten down because she doesn't want her crew, her family basically, to die.
Get hurt, right.
So she's getting really upset about this and really beating herself down that she dragged, these 3 people out here and that they're all going to get killed because of her. And then Maui has to give her the little pep talk to get her back up, which I really like because in the first movie it was switched when Moana was giving Maui the pep talks. Now they've kind of switched sides here. They have another little song about that. And then we also realize that the island that they washed ashore on is the same island that Tatu Taivasa had also washed ashore on, and they find his destroyed wayfinder. Right. So again, that was her ancestor, the last great wayfinder for people. So they find his destroyed ship, and Lotto is able to use the pieces of his destroyed ship or destroyed boat to fix their boat. So now they're able to, because their boat was like crashed when they crashed ashore. Now they're able to fix their boats, and then they regroup. They all feel ready to go, and they go into Nala's giant storm. The main storm is like a regular storm. I guess it's supposed to be raining, but you don't really see the rain. It's mainly these huge tornadoes with like lightning tornadoes that are down. And Maui's trying to destroy as many tornadoes as he possibly can until Moana realizes that Nalo is actually after the humans, like her. Like they're after the crew because they're the humans, and he hates the humans, remember?
More than he hates Maui.
Yeah. So she tells Maui to go ahead without them and then pull up Machu Picchu, and then that way all she has to do is touch it and break the curse. So he leaves them. He tries to go pull up the mountain or pull up the island. He gets really close, honestly, but then Nalo attacks Maui, and he actually strips him of his demigod powers, because remember, Nalo is a god, and Maui's only a demigod. He strips him of his demigod powers. Maui falls into the ocean, and at the same time, they're trying to like race towards Maui, and they're crushed by a giant wave. So they're crushed by a giant wave. The wayfinder, it's like flipped upside down, I guess. And so Moana has the crew go after Maui, and she realizes, again, thinking back to what Montangi had taught her, is like there's always different ways to accomplish a goal. But all she has to do is touch the island. So she swims underwater to the island underwater. And right as she touches the island, Nala strikes her with lightning, and it does kill her. When I read it online, she is indeed dead. So Moana does die. So she's struck with lightning, she dies. Maui wakes up and he swims down to her, even though he has no demigod powers. He swims down to her. But now that the curse, I didn't mention this before, but when they first got right to outside of Machu Picchu, Moana touched the water, and earlier in the film, she had touched the water and she could communicate with her sister across the ocean, because she told her sister the ocean connects us, so we will always be connected by the ocean. When they're outside of Machu Picchu, because the curse is so powerful there, the ocean is not reachable.
Yeah, she can't reach the ocean.
She can't connect the ocean when she's there. But now that she broke the curse because she touched the island, now the ocean can reach her. So the ocean comes and creates this little air bubble on top of the island, because remember, the island's still underwater, so there's a little air bubble on top of the island. And then Moana is surrounded by her ancestors in the little swirl pattern that's like the same as like the heart of Te Fiti. And her grandmother and Tatu Taivasa are there, and they basically, long story short, revive her. So they revive her, thus creating a wayfinder tattoo on her forearm, on her left forearm. So similar to Maui's tattoos, it is unconfirmed if it's magical or not. We don't see anything. It does glow gold for a little while, and then it fades to like a regular tattoo. So I suppose in Moana 3 we'll find out if she has any powers, but we do not know. The ocean also retrieves Maui's hook and gives it back to him, and as soon as he touches his hook, it restores his demigod powers. So then Maui is able to raise Machu Picchu. Moana blows the conch shell, or I think Hey blows the conch shell. Hey, he does something.
Yeah, he keeps doing that. He keeps swallowing it. She keeps thinking it's other people.
Yeah. And they suddenly turn around and they see wayfinders in the ocean sailing towards them. And they're like shocked because they've never seen other people in their entire lives. And then all these other wayfinders suddenly all arrive at that, again, because this is supposed to be the island where all the wayfinders meet each other type thing. So all these wayfinders start finding their way to them. And so then so it kind of jumps, and we jump, and Moana is returning home with Maui and with all the other wayfinders.
Right
and they have a big celebration. It's very exciting that her people, Moana's people, are reconnected back to the ocean. And so is everyone else in the ocean. They're all reconnected, which is very exciting. So then we have our mid-credit scene. In the mid-credit scene, we actually see Nalo. So Nalo is like this big dude, kind of like Maui, like the big broad shoulder type dude. And he has like these purple eyes, like this purple ring around his eyes. And he's clearly very angry. And he's yelling at Montangi because he says no one should have even been able to find Matufetu.
Right.
So he kind of knows that she did something. And when you watch closely, she actually, when she says like, no, I didn't help him at all, she has her fingers crossed behind her back because obviously she did. So he re-handcuffs her and says that he's, basically saying he wants revenge on Moana. And then suddenly Tamatoa just pops out of nowhere. So Tamatoa is the crab from the first movie that Moana and Maui stole the hook back from. Pops out of nowhere, and he's just like, actually, I'd like to get revenge on her too, in this little funny little way. And then that's basically how the mid-credit scene ends. So that really sets them up for a good Moana 3, honestly. I would love to see
as
how
we were
they would
walking
do
out,
that.
that's what we said. Well, I guess it's going to be a Moana 3.
Yeah, I know, right? And getting to meet other people and stuff like that is like, oh, that'd be so exciting. So that's overall the plot of the movie. So very, very fun.
Like I said, very adventurous, very funny things going on in between, and touching stories from Maui to her when he talks about when he has the different things going on. So I have to say, it was very, very good.
So what was your favorite song in the movie? This movie did have more songs than the first one.
Had more songs.
But
I can't say there was a favorite. I think I didn't notice one that I said, oh, I like that one better than the other one.
Yeah.
They were all good.
I think my favorite was the big song Beyond, like the song that Moana's big song. I did really like that song. I thought it was really touching. Do you have any favorite characters? Was it just Kiki, the elderly farmer?
No, he was funny. Yeah. I love the little sister. I thought she was adorable.
Yeah.
I got to say, they made her adorable, and she was adorable. Like just the fact of how she loved Moana, and how she didn't want her to go, and how she realized what was going on, and when she sees her coming home, I was very happy to see her. She was just a nice little addition.
It was fun to see a really good sibling dynamic.
Yes,
there, because
they did a very good job.
Sorry if you can hear my cat; she's coming to say hello to me.
Yeah.
So
very, very. I think they did a great job on her. I really liked her addition to the story.
No, I liked her too. I like the idea
what was
as well.
Yours?
So my favorite character. I don't know. I feel like Moana is always my favorite character.
Wow.
So I'm kind of cheating, just being like Moana. But I think otherwise, I like Mani, the historian guy, the fanboy to Maui, because I definitely get that where you get starstruck from people. So it's I feel
I don't get starstruck.
He kept writing. He said it was fan fiction because he was creating all these fake little stories of him and Maui being best friends. Which I thought was so cute and so funny. I was like, no, I really liked him. But the other part I really liked that I thought was touching was that it's never said, but it's obviously implied that her grandmother had passed away. But she has 2 different visions with the grandmother, and the grandmother tells her we're always connected, even we're just now connected in a different way. And I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful to see death in that fashion, that it's you're still connected to those who have passed, just in a very different way. So I did like that too. The one thing I wish we saw more of, which is in one of the trailers or one of the teaser things, was the big whale shark. So when she first sees what's his name, Tatuafasa, he comes to her on a big whale shark, and that must have been his spirit animal, because the grandmother's spirit animal was the big stingray. So his had have been, I'm assuming, a whale shark. But you only saw him once, and I'm like, well, I love whale sharks. I would have liked to see more whale sharks, especially the big magical whale shark. I did love the big magical whale shark. So yeah, do you have any favorite scenes?
I gotta tell you, I think they're all, as much as I could tell, they're all good.
Yeah. Did you cry at all?
No,
I don't cry.
I don't usually cry. Did you?
Yeah, when Moana died, I was just like, God damn. I was like, can't believe they just killed her.
I didn't expect her to stay dead.
Is she the first Disney princess to fully die and be resurrected? I don't know.
Well, I guess so, because you can't really consider the other ones dead. They were in sleep mode. They were in a coma.
Well, that's
what's her name was
sleeping.
In a coma.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty and Snow White were sleeping.
Yes,
so.
they were they were sleeping.
Who
they were in
a
sleep
fully
coma.
Died and was fully revived.
No,
I don't think any of the princesses.
I guess
were.
in my mind, I'm such a thing is that I'm like, okay, this is a Disney movie. They're not going to kill off Moana.
No, but it was sad though when you realized that she died.
Yes.
I think it was sad to see Maui's
reaction. Yes,
because now I loved seeing their relationship blossom even further in the strong friendship that they have, and it's just to see him and think about he just lost everything. He lost his powers. He lost his hook. In the first movie, he would have been devastated about that, but he doesn't even care about that. He cares about the fact that Moana died.
Yeah,
so.
During this movie, he did care about her more, obviously, because they had become what they did in the first movie. I think I was more sad when she left and the little sister was watching her go, But like I said, I think in the back of my mind, it was like, okay, she's not really dead. They're going to bring her back because they're not going to kill off Moana.
I think the irony is, too, because when someone asked her, on her island, how long did the first journey take? She's like, I don't know, maybe a few weeks. And they're like, well, this next journey is going to take us years. And it's maybe a few weeks. It only took a few weeks to accomplish. there was a few montage songs that made it seem like it was days were passing. So I would say maybe a few weeks. But it's just like, it's like, I did think there for a second, it's like, what if they're on the ocean for like a few years and they get back and the sister's a little, like, like 5 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, no, only I would say a few weeks. Yeah, Moana's quick to accomplish her journeys. Right. So I guess most Disney princesses accomplish their missions within like a few weeks.
Yeah, short time.
It's like, which movie has like the longest?
Especially she had to come home to her family, to the thing. So yes,
that's what I'm saying. It's like almost all the Disney princess movies are only over the course of a few days to a few weeks. I think Princess and the Frog is like 2 days. Like that.
Oh yeah, that's really
that one's probably the shortest. Yeah. So, but maybe Bella's is the longest because she's with the Beast for like a month. I would say.
Yeah, she's there for a while.
Yeah, she's there for a while. So it's like, and I mean, like if you do the Beauty and the Beast at Christmas, that's even longer. So it's like, I don't know. So I'm trying to think of some other ones. Yeah, Tangled was only a few days, like at most. Like Cinderella is only a few days, I think. Maybe Cinderella's a few weeks actually, depending upon. You don't really know how much time passes.
I never pay attention to the timeline.
Yeah, from when the prince is looking for her with the shoe, you don't know how many days I guess is really passing. It could be a few days there, who knows. Blanking right now on Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, those timelines, because I have not seen them in a while. So
Snow White was a while because she was living with
I was going to say, so maybe hers spans years.
Yeah,
so maybe Snow White
that expands longer.
Because, well, I guess in the original one, because she runs away when she's a child. Right. And then she grows up with the seven dwarves, so it's a little bit
so by the time they get her, she's an adult, so that's a couple of years.
Yeah, but by the time she starts her journey, though, like with getting back to the queen, that's short.
That's shorter, but her time from when she's runs away to that.
Maybe that's something we'll do a podcast episode about.
We'll
look
at
the princesses.
Yeah.
But I have 2 little fun facts here from Moana. So, of course, in America, it is called Moana 2, but in Europe, there are certain copyright problems that Disney had with the name Moana, I suppose. So it's actually called Vanaya 2.
Oh, really?
And then in some regions of the world, it's called Oceania 2. So in some areas, it just kind of depends on the market. And there's also been 4 special dubbings of the movie that have been made in Polynesian languages, including Hawaiian, of course, in Hawaii, Maori, which is the language in New Zealand, Tahitian, which is in the Society Islands in the French Polynesian, and Samoan in the Samoan Islands. And this was a really big deal too, because a lot of the times when they do special dubbings in movies, they don't premiere at the same time as like the big film release in English and around the world. But for these dubbings, they did premiere at the same time. So the New Zealand premiere in the native language of Maori was also premiered the same day as the one in America as well, which was really exciting. Aolo Carvalho, who is the voice of Moana, of course, she does the Hawaiian dubbing. So like the first movie, she did the Hawaiian dubbing as well for this one too. I mean, like she is Hawaiian. I think she does speak fluent Hawaiian, so it makes sense that she would do the Hawaiian language. But they did have other voice actors do the other languages who are more fluent in those languages, of course. But I did like that because I didn't realize that they had done so many dubbings for this movie. And this was also a big deal too, because I think the first movie they did the dubbings for was for Frozen, where they did it in traditional Scandinavian languages. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like breaking that. Every time they do it, they do it in the traditional language of wherever the movie is taking place. So in this case, in Polynesia. But of course, Polynesia is so large, you can't just do one language. It's very large. And that's why they picked 4.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a friend who went on a cruise just recently through the Polynesian islands. And she said when she got to Bora Bora, she was very surprised. Because when they show it, when you see things about it, you think it's a small little island. It's not. Yeah. It's very big. That's what shocked her. When she went to all these different islands, that's the one thing that stuck out in her mind. Yeah. That it was much bigger than she expected.
Yeah, I would love to see more Polynesia because I really love Polynesian culture. I love their food. I love everything. Oh, God. So hopefully one day I would also get to go see Polynesia. And even if I just see Hawaii, I've only seen Hawaii once.
I'm not going to Polynesia. It's too long a trip for me. But Hawaii would be nice.
You never know, though.
To go back.
But all right, any other notes on Moana, or we can do some Disney
like I said,
news?
I thought it was very entertaining. It went very quickly. It wasn't like you were sitting there going, okay, when's this movie going to be over? What time is it?
Yeah, I thought it
went
was
very, very quickly.
Really
I thought it was very good. We did sit, like I said, sit through the credits to get the mid-credit, little scene. Most of the theater was gone by that time.
Yeah.
I always sit till the very end anyway, because I figured if those people worked that hard to make this movie, we should at least sit.
I love seeing
the music is nice. You sit there, you watch. Usually the guys are sweeping the popcorn out from around the seats around us as we're leaving. So, but I think if they go through all that trouble to do it, I think I would like, to see the credits.
And I think too, again, I feel like the Disney princess movies definitely get the big budgets, so you can definitely tell this movie was meant to be a good movie.
Yes, they did. They did the details. Yeah, they put their effort into it. Let's put it that way.
You can feel it when you watch it. Like this was meant to be a great movie. And
yes, this is one of the Disney classics. So. It is meant to be a big movie.
No, we definitely agree.
I agree.
So, all right, let's do just a little bit of Disney news. So first up, we have the Epcot's Festival of the Holidays is in full swing now. Very exciting. All the festival booths are open. There are a few new festival booths as well. So definitely make sure you check out to see the new ones and all the new food. For us to go through it would take way too long, but just know there is lots of new festival booths. The holiday cookie stroll, of course, is back too. A lot of people have been posting already on that. There's a new gingerbread spaceship Earth on display at Communicore Hall. It looks so cool, honestly. We were there a few.
We didn't go in there.
Yeah, I don't think it was set up yet. But
was it set up
yeah,
yet?
I think they just set it up and got it all ready for now. The one thing I couldn't figure out is that there's a countdown beneath it. I'm like, what's it counting down
Maybe
to?
to New Year's?
That's what I thought too. Maybe to Christmas. So I wasn't sure. No one was posting what the countdown was for. So I was like, what is this countdown for? Or at least when I was looking at the initial news for it. But it does look really cool. I do love they have a gingerbread spaceship Earth. They've really been going all out on the gingerbread displays recently. The last few years.
Yes, the gingerbread is everywhere.
Yeah, they've added lots of gingerbread displays recently. There's a lot of new merchandise, of course, for the holidays. So the big thing is the Figment quarter zip, and this is the same one that Figment wears on the Figment ride. So for the holiday overlay for Figment, they put him in a little a little festive sweater, and now they sell the festive sweater, so you can buy the same sweater that Figment is wearing, which I do think is pretty cute. It's not very obviously Disney, which is why I like it too. It just looks like one of those like ugly sweater type things.
Yeah.
And of course, the holiday overlay on Living with the Land is now up. When we did see Living with the Land, we saw the lights were there, but they were not turned on.
They were starting to decorate.
And not all the lights were up yet. So now all the lights are there and turned on. Very exciting. It always looks so pretty when you do the holiday Living with the Land. I wish that was year round. Another update in Epcot is that Soarin' has been updated. Its ending scene is now with the new World Celebration area beneath it. And I kid you not, we went on the ride 2 days before this change. So when we went on the ride, we still saw the old OG fountain, and 2 days later they switched it. So we were one of the last people to see the OG fountain. And I remember too, when we sat there watching it, Dad even said, look, that fountain's not there anymore, which I think is so funny. Yeah, so now it is updated with the new World Celebration beneath it, which is kind of exciting actually. Disney has announced the Disney Lakeshore Lodge opening in 2027. This hotel will be on Bay Lake, right where River Country used to be. So everyone's kind of been wondering what was going to happen to that area. So very exciting, Disney Lakeshore Lodge. There aren't that many photos of it yet. It looks like it may be, again, like lake themed, sort of like wilderness themed, Pocahontas themed, something like that. No one's really sure yet.
Yeah,
but
it looks like
2027, so that's a couple years away anyway. It has also been announced too that Monsters Inc. Land will definitely be replacing the Muppets themed area in Hollywood Studios. But alas, the Muppets will go to Rock and Roller Coaster instead. That was a big fear when they announced Monsters Inc. Land in the first place in Hollywood Studios of where was it going to go. And everyone said it's probably going to the Muppets themed area. And we were right. But instead, they're not getting rid of the Muppets. It is going to Rock and Roller Coaster. They have discussed redoing Rock and Roller Coaster for many years now. So I'm excited to see a Muppets overlay to it. They also are closing the Lightning McQueen experience too that's over there. So I wonder if that whole area will just become Muppets themed. And I'm also wondering, I feel like they probably will keep Rock and Roller Coaster in like the music style and just have
That's what we
the
were
Muppets
discussing.
overtake
Because
it.
they do show the Muppets playing in a band. They do play in a band when they have their shows or their TV shows or whatever. So they probably have some kind of music.
Yeah. And one last little bit of news in Disneyland, that Disneyland is getting a new Haunted Mansion themed shop in the park called Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond. It has no open date, but they just said this winter. So sometime this winter they're going to get a new store, which is kind of exciting to see. All right. And then for some Disney birthdays, on December 3rd, we have Natasha Romanoff. So happy birthday to Natasha. And on December 6th, it is my aunt's birthday, my Aunt Barbara and my Aunt Kathleen. So happy birthday to them. And that takes us to our final memory of the podcast, our Disney memory, our final segment, sorry, our Disney memory. Do you have a Disney memory for today's podcast?
My Disney memory is really just the fact that we do this the night before Thanksgiving. We always go, like they usually have a big, a blockbuster.
Well, we've always seen the Thanksgiving release.
Yes,
usually,
we always see the
whatever it is.
Thanksgiving release, and that's like a new thing for us. On Wednesday night, we go to the movies and we see the movie, and then we talk about it, and it's like a tradition with us. So that's my Disney memory.
No, I definitely remember that because we've seen a lot of movies. So we did see Frozen 2 when that came out. We saw Nutcracker in the Four Realms. Coco was one of them.
Right, Coco.
Yeah, so every year when they release it for Thanksgiving, we've gone to see it, which has always been kind of fun. I feel like they kind of started when I was in college, I think was the things. But I feel like when I was in high school, we didn't do this. But
No,
once I got
it was
to college,
mostly when you were in college.
because I would get home and then we'd be like, well, what should we do? And then we would go see the movie.
We'd go see the movie.
So,
Yeah.
no, I definitely remember
What's
that
your
too.
memory?
No, see, that's the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
same
what
thing?
I said. That's like, I remember too that, every Thanksgiving we always see
It's a little
whatever's
tradition with
coming
us.
out,
It's nice to
so.
have memories and traditions and,
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, Disney always has their big Thanksgiving Day release. So, no, this is exciting. And this was a good one, too, for Thanksgiving. I'm curious to see, because again, it broke the Thanksgiving records. I wonder if it's going to break Inside Out 2 this year, because Inside Out 2 it's like now the highest grossing animated film, Inside Out 2. So I wonder if Moana 2 will reach that. Some people said it will reach it, and others said it's not. So I guess we'll see.
We'll see what happens. I think that Wicked and Moana 2 came out at a time when it's been a long time since there's been movies people want to flock to.
Yes.
There's movies that come out and you say, okay, they're good, they're this, they're that, they're whatever, but they're not like a big blockbuster that everybody says, oh my God, it's so good, you have to go.
Yes. Well, I think, for instance, for Wicked at least, it's like a lot of people are re-seeing Wicked multiple times. I don't think people will re-see Moana 2.
No.
I don't think people were re-seeing Inside Out 2 either.
No.
I think Inside Out 2 has the edge where that was the summer release, so kids
Yes,
aren't in
kids
school,
were
so
out
you
of
can go
school
take
and
the kids to
different
go
things.
see
Right.
parties or doing summer things. Whereas this time time of year is a bit trickier sometimes to get the kids to the theaters, or you have stuff going on, parties, shopping.
Depends on how long it stays in the theaters.
Yeah, so I would be curious to see if it does. It would be shocking if it does break Inside Out 2. Because again, Inside Out 2 was over like $1 billion, you know, so it was a lot of money Inside Out 2 made around the world too as well. So it's just like, I guess we'll see. And again, I think both movies are worthy of it. Great movies. So although as of right now, we will do an episode on Mufasa when that comes out. Right now, they are predicting that Mufasa will not beat out Sonic 3, that Sonic 3 will be the big Christmas movie.
I don't think Mufasa's going to beat it. To tell you the truth, I am not expecting
right now the projections
Mufasa.
that Sonic 3 is going to be the big Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's going to be
I think that's harder though, because if you think about right now for Thanksgiving, the big 3 movies for Thanksgiving this year was Moana 2, Wicked, and Gladiator 2. But Moana 2 is the only kid movie, whereas Sonic 3 is a kid movie. So you have a choice of 2 kid movies, Sonic 3 or Mufasa. And it's like, well, I'm going to take my kid to see Sonic 3 probably.
Right.
And is Mufasa really for kids? I don't know.
We don't
honestly.
know yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Should
it's
be
like,
interesting
yes,
to
it's
see.
for kids, but it's like, it's a new story. So no one,
We
it's
don't know
like,
which
one are you going to take it? The animated hedgehog
Yes.
that has Shadow.
I'm sorry, but that's got more of a draw for kids.
Well, I think also, like the other 2 Sonic movies also did fantastic as well.
He's very popular.
I've heard it's very good. And again, Shadow's a huge character and it's very exciting.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves plays Shadow, everyone.
I know.
So
I know. I'm telling you.
Out
of all the kids' movies, it's the one that didn't look the worst. I got to tell you.
Yeah, so I feel like I think the families with kids may go to Sonic 3 over Mufasa, whereas, maybe the older kids and families or the Disney, the Disney nuts like us will definitely go see Mufasa. Right. So I guess we'll see. But as of right now, projections are saying Sonic 3 is going to be the Christmas movie. I love that stuff. It's so interesting, just like what people end up going towards. Yes. But all right, thanks so much everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. I will have a dedicated Instagram post on our Instagram, Almost Amanda X, that will also be linked in the description. So you can let us know. Did you see Moana 2? Did you like it? Which one did you like better, the first Moana or the second? I'm always really indecisive when it comes to that because I think
they were both. I think one was just as good
reasons.
as the other this time. I
Yeah,
have
exactly.
to say.
So, but yeah, we'll have a dedicated Instagram post to let us know which one you liked, if you're going to see the movie, and when you're going to see the movie. Would you see it a second time? We'll love to know. So, all right, let us know. But until then,